Welcome to the Meet Mentor YouTube channel. Look, as a first-time entrepreneur CEO, you're going to encounter a variety of situations, and occasionally you're going to be tempted to make a choice that will be challenging for you. Today, I'm going to share with you situations that every entrepreneur will encounter. The first one is very straightforward. Have you ever had an idea and you don't know who to turn to? Do you want a mentor to accommodate you? We have a selection of mentors you could choose from. Every entrepreneur who launches a company often has a coworker who is either a cousin or a friend. So when you work with them at first, everything is thrilling because you think, oh my God, we're going to do something huge together. One of the circumstances you'll encounter is having to dismiss a friend or a family, and it's really difficult to do for most first-time entrepreneurs since it's friendship. Yet, once we start doing this and that, the personalities may suddenly function together. Yet, in practice, keeping your company in operation is more important than anything else. Even if it means firing your closest friend or family, because if your company fails, everyone else will suffer. Do you fear dismissing a person or persons close to you? If so, kindly like this video. The reason why the following one is so intriguing is because, for the most part, when you first start a company, you sort of think, oh my goodness, we're going to go out, then we're going to do this. I'm going to create this business. Instead, they need to be thinking, oh my God, we're going to start regional, then national, then worldwide. We're going to be huge, right? And you believe you're totally in. You think you've invested my whole life's money, $50,000, $100,000, and more. And once you do, other than at first, that's when it becomes very challenging. When starting a company, most individuals tend to underestimate how challenging it will be. They often mistakenly feel that it will be a lot easier than it turns out to be. You think, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. All of our dreams are going to come true, but then you realize the true challenge of being an entrepreneur. And that's when you realize if you're 100% in or not, because it's not going to be an easy moment. It's going to be a very tough moment, and almost nothing you look at makes sense for you to continue. However, on paper, nothing makes sense as to why you could make it or as to why you should continue. But it's at that point that you discover if you're a person who's all in or everyone around you notices that you're gradually transitioning from being an entrepreneur back to an employee. You'll know when you reach that point, because at that point, just one person will be aware of it. And you're good then? This one is challenging because when you change from being an employee to wanting to be an entrepreneur, you usually still have a lot of friends who are employees that you want to be associated with. However, since you are now an entrepreneur, it's similar to changing from watching someone else's baby to having your own child. And you cannot watch movies while your child is a newborn. When you have a newborn kid, you can't do a lot of things because they need to be fed, their diapers need to be changed. They require attention, they scream, they get up 3 or 4 times at night to go out. And that period lasts for 1.5 years, 2 years, or 3 years. Therefore, when you're married with children and you try to hang out with friends who are single with no children while out at nightclubs, it will be awkward, and these guys will say, I thought we were friends. Just as your friends with regular jobs will say, wait a minute, we still hang out together. It seems like everything about your life is now public knowledge. What happened to this man? You won't have an answer for them at first because all you care about is making money. But after watching the video, you know that in order to make the business last for a while, you have to be all in. This probably means giving up some of your hobbies, because if you don't stay focused on the business, it won't succeed. What are your thoughts for a lasting business? Kindly comment below this video. The tipping point will come when we decide to refuse some of your friends who don't grasp what it is to be an entrepreneur. Because this thing will ultimately go out of business and you'll find yourself on this side. Now, this next one is a little confusing because when you first start a business, some competitors will be supportive of you and will be like, oh John, listen, you're going to get it. Go get them, it's going to be all great. However, over time, these competitors, who were once supportive, will turn into your enemies, and they will no longer like you. They will also begin speaking negatively about you. So what does that actually mean? Why is this person furious with me now when he used to say he supported my decision? The reason why is that when Dad used to assist you when you were little, he knew that you were going to grow, but he never believed that you would succeed because if he had known that you would grow, you would have had to compete with them. He would never have liked you in the first place, and he would never have permitted you to compete with them because that was never the intention. The intention was that you would always be small and never take market share. But as you grow and take some market share away from certain people, those competitors who were initially supportive become your official detractors. This next example is the contradiction of what I just said. I'll explain why this is the case. They dislike and despise you. And if you experience the next part, which is magical, those rivals who had previously hated you will now love you and support you because you are no longer in their league, you are in a different league. They will call you. And now that they have developed a level of admiration for you, they will do so. But in order to reach this level, one must first reach the level of hatred. This hatred may last for a few years, perhaps 5 or 10. Then they will finally say, you know what? Give it up to this guy. He's just better than us. I love and respect this guy. Much love to you, adding, you know what? I used to hate on you. I should say a lot of bad things about you, but I love you and I love what you're doing. I love that you defeated me, but guess what? We now know you're better than us, and whatever happens when that occurs, it's a great feeling. You're just kicking everyone's butt more. Love to you, stay at it, so proud of you, keep at it, everything I can do to assist you out, I'm cheering you on. The second one is fascinating because you'll be expanding your company and initially not taking much money because your investment backs your firm. But eventually, you'll come to a position where you can now take the profits out and you want to withdraw the profits. However, if you withdraw too much money, you won't be able to invest it in the business's growth. Whether it be through marketing, or support for growth. Occasionally, you may be tempted to do this when you go to your business checking account and say, oh my gosh, we have some money in this checking account. I'm inclined to withdraw $2 million from the deal. If you're going to take the gains out rather than investing them back into the firm, I'm sometimes inclined to take $1 million off the table, regardless of the size of the business you have. Sometimes you put the long-term valuation of developing a strong company in jeopardy by being tempted to take short-term profits out. This doesn't mean you shouldn't set some money aside to save yourself, make your family safer, and save for your savings. But if you engage in this concept of taking profits, eventually long-term valuation and possibly the company keeps going lower. The second challenge is particularly challenging for first-time business owners because, as an entrepreneur, you'll eventually have to say no to your family when you formerly said, yes, we can go out there and purchase this. And we can go out and do that, and now money is a little bit tighter. Because you're running a business, the money is now being put back into the business. If you're a wife, husband, partner, parent, child, or other family member, they're used to you saying yes to many of the expenses you had in the past, but you can't right now because for the duration of your 2-year or 3-year period, you've got to stay tight and the money has to go back into the business. It occasionally causes conflict because if your spouse is unaware of the commitments you made and the sacrifices that go along with them and you don't talk to them about it, there will be conflict between the two of you and you'll have that conversation. Just make sure you bring it up in the beginning so that everyone understands that we'll need to be more frugal in some areas because daddy or mommy have decided to launch their own businesses. There will likely be a brief period during which we won't have enough money to do all the things we used to, such as take that trip or do that, and that's because we're aiming for the long term. Are you aiming for the long term? If you appreciate our content, subscribe to the Meet Mentor YouTube channel. So we've talked a lot about business families and all this other stuff. One of the things that could happen is that as you build your business, you may run into situations where departments clash. For example, sales may go up against support, or investors may not like the board, or you personally may not like the board, or your engineers may not get along with sales, marketing, and so on. Every department needs to be aware of how important their role is, but they also need to understand who is more important. For example, let's say we have a meeting here and a home office starts being a little bit too hard on sales. I'll sit down and remind everyone that without sales, this company wouldn't exist and we wouldn't matter. No business exists. Corporate forgets that the creative or salespeople are really the ones who are holding the company together. Since this is a support team, there must be respect for them but also admiration for their tireless efforts. Sometimes, just like when the government of a nation starts thinking they are more important than job creators and entrepreneurs. There must be a very clear understanding from everyone that every single job done by every single person is critical to the growth of the company. If those conversations aren't had, then there will likely be some conflict. These guys may be working 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week, but they're working 6 to 7 days to travel away from their families to sell. That concludes today's video, then. Give this video a like, comment, and if you found it interesting, subscribe to our channel for more videos with similar themes. Till then, bye. I'll see you in the next video entitled, The First Sales Supervisor I Had.